The Eldridge Hotel stood lonely and forgotten at the edge of the town. Its gargoyled facade and darkened windows were a testament to the many years it had stood unrented, haunted by whispered tales of a ghostly presence. Tonight, illuminated by a flickering street lamp and cloaked in heavy fog, it was more ominous than ever. Inside, the air was thick with the musty scent of decay. The grand chandelier in the lobby swayed slightly, casting spider-like shadows that scurried across the peeling wallpaper. Clara, a curious traveler, bravely ventured inside, her footsteps echoing loudly in the cavernous silence. Clara's heart hammered in her chest as she navigated the dimly lit corridors, her flashlight trembling in her grip. Every creak and groan of the old building seemed amplified. As she moved deeper into the hotel, a cold breeze brushed past her cheek, making her shiver. She reached the end of the hallway where a grand mirror stood. Dust-covered and cracked, it reflected her wide-eyed fear. As Clara studied her reflection, a shadowy figure appeared behind her. Clara whirled around, but there was no one there. Suddenly, the temperature dropped sharply, and her breath formed a misty cloud in the air. The silence was broken by a soft, eerie whisper that seemed to come from everywhere and nowhere. "Leave now," it hissed. Clara's fear reached a fever pitch. She stumbled backward, crashing into the mirror, causing the web of cracks to splinter further. Out of the corner of her eye, she saw the ghost, a pale woman with hollow eyes and a gaping mouth, silently screaming. The ghost's hand shot out, reaching for Clara. Just as the spectral fingers grazed her arm, Clara bolted back down the hallway, her flashlight beam bouncing wildly. She threw open a door and found herself in the lobby again. Or was it the lobby? The furniture was dust-free, and candles burned brightly on the tables. The hotel looked alive. Clara's confusion deepened as a bellboy approached her, smiling politely. "May I take your luggage, miss?" he asked. A chill ran down Clara's spine as she realized the bellboy's eyes were as hollow as the ghost's. The video ends abruptly, the screen cutting to black with the echoing whisper, "You can never leave." The old Hartington High School had been abandoned for over 20 years. There were stories, whispers of tragic events that had led to its closure. Local legends spoke of students disappearing one by one, their shrieks echoing in empty hallways, leaving only blood-chilling silence behind. When 12-year-old Oliver found an old yearbook during a yard sale, he didn't think much of it. Yet, when he flipped through the pages, he found the faces morphed into expressions of horror, as if screaming for help. Determined to solve the mystery, Oliver convinced his curious, albeit terrified friends, Mia and James, to venture into the decrepit school one foggy evening. As they stepped into the school grounds, a deep chill settled over them. The gate, old and rusted, groaned as they pushed it open. The structure loomed over them, its broken windows like vacant eyes observing every move. The entrance doors, though half off their hinges, seemed to beckon them inside. Inside, it was worse, dark, damp, with the smell of decay seeping through the walls. Broken desks and chairs were flung about as though a violent storm had torn through the classrooms. The deeper they moved into the heart of the school, the stronger the feeling of being watched grew. Oliver, driven by some unseen force, led the way through the labyrinth of horror. Mia, shaking, clicked on her flashlight, its dim light barely cutting through the oppressive darkness. James carried a camera, capturing every creak and shadow, documenting their every step. As they ventured deeper, they began to hear whispers, faint at first, like a distant wind, growing louder with every step. Suddenly, the whispers became screams. Doors slammed shut behind them, locking them in. Mia, paralyzed by fear, dropped her flashlight, casting the room into utter blackness. Scratching noises echoed through the room. A voice, A guttural, otherworldly growl began to speak, calling their names. The walls themselves seemed to close in, adorned with scribbles of names, dates, and messages of agony. Help us! They're here! We can't leave! Oliver's determination wavered as shadows began to move, encircling them. James aimed the camera, his hands trembling. The screen showed faces, ghostly and pale, eyes hollow, staring back at them with despair. Screams erupted. One by one, the shadows lunged at them. Mia was the first to go, her scream piercing, cut off abruptly. James soon followed, dragged into the darkness. Oliver, left alone, tried to run but was caught by an unseen force, lifting him off the ground. As he struggled, the yearbook he had found slipped from his pocket. Pages fluttered open, revealing the last page. Not one should escape. The screen flickered and went black. What happened to Oliver, Mia, and James remained a mystery. It had been an ordinary summer when the McAllister family vanished without a trace. Their quaint home, nestled in the secluded woods of Maine, became the epicenter of a chilling mystery that would haunt the local town for years to come. Jane McAllister, a doting mother and avid gardener, was last seen watering her rose beds on a bright July morning. Her husband, David, a diligent accountant, had just returned home from work, carrying a bouquet of flowers for their wedding anniversary. The children, Timmy and Susan, were playing in the backyard, their laughter echoing through the trees. But as the sun dipped below the horizon, an unsettling silence descended upon the McAllister residence. The next morning, the mailman noticed something odd. The house was eerily quiet, and the morning paper remained untouched on the doorstep. By noon, concerned neighbors had gathered, knocking on the front door and peering through windows. They found no sign of the family, only Jane's apron left on the kitchen counter and David's briefcase still next to the front door. Panic set in, and the sheriff's department was called. The initial investigation revealed no signs of struggle. The house was immaculate, as if the family had simply evaporated into thin air. But as days turned into weeks, and weeks into months, oddities began to surface. The family's cell phones were found discarded in a nearby river. Their car was parked neatly in the garage, and all their personal belongings remained untouched. A chilling discovery was made in Timmy's room. A series of drawings depicting shadowy figures lurking outside the windows at night. One particular drawing showed the entire family holding hands, with terrified expressions, surrounded by these dark entities. Specialists were brought in. Psychic mediums and paranormal investigators scoured the house. They spoke of an overwhelming presence, an ancient malevolence that seemed to cling to the air itself. Whispered legends of the land being cursed started circulating. Some recalled tales of a cult that once performed dark rituals in the woods, seeking to summon something unspeakable. The media frenzy spiraled out of control, with theories ranging from alien abductions to alternate dimensions. But no evidence, no trace, no clue gave credence to any explanation. The McAllister home became a macabre tourist attraction, drawing curious souls seeking to unravel the enigma. Years later, an anonymous tip led authorities to a cellar hidden beneath the McAllister's garage, a place previously undetected. In it, they found a dusty, old book bound in leather, filled with cryptic symbols and chilling invocations. But before they could conduct a thorough investigation, the cellar abruptly caved in, burying its secrets forever. To this day, the disappearance of the McAllister family remains an unresolved horror, a sinister puzzle that lingers at the edge of reality, reminding everyone that some mysteries are best left unsolved.